The Tao of Self-Confidence, episode 532. Welcome to the Tao of Self-Confidence, where I share stories of amazing women who have discovered their inner journey to self-confidence. Visit our website at thetaoofselfconfidence.com. Your inner journey to self-confidence awaits. Well, hello friend. Welcome to the Tao of Self-Confidence, where I share stories of amazing women who have discovered their inner journey to self-confidence. I'm your host today, Sheena Yap Chan, and today I have an amazing lady on the show today. She's a multimedia host and producer, and I'm really excited to have her on and share her story with us on self-confidence. So without further ado, I'm going to introduce you to Brigitte Truong. Brigitte, how are you today? Maybe you can fill in a little bit more about yourself to our listeners.
I'm great, thank you. Thanks for having me on, Sheena. I'm very excited to chat. But you pretty much nailed it. Yeah, I'm a multimedia host and producer, pretty much born and raised in Toronto, but I am a Chinese Canadian. Woo! Very proud of that. And I do a multitude of things. I am the VIP pre-show host for Cineplex Entertainment across Canada. I host an entertainment show on CHCH called And Pop every single week. And I work with a lot of unique brands all across North America to create digital content, to reach engagement, to spread their stories across the digital landscape.
Awesome. Well, thanks for sharing that. And Brigitte, what would be your favorite self-confidence quote?
Ooh, that's a really good question. My favorite self-confidence quote. You know what? This is definitely one of my favorites. I don't know if it's my absolute favorite because there are so many, but the one that I live by is, if you can believe and conceive, you can achieve. And we've heard it from many different philosophers, life coaches, but the original, of course, was Napoleon Hill. And every time I set out to conquer something new, every time I'm optimistic about something, every time I might fall into a pessimistic rut, that little phrase right there always gets me in the right mindset.
Thanks for sharing that great quote. And, belief is everything. Like, if you don't believe in yourself, you're not going to take that action to go out there and, go after what you believe or what you're passionate about or your dreams. So it's really important to believe in ourselves. And I really love that quote too. It's a classic. So thanks for sharing that. And in your own words, how do you define self-confidence?
Self-confidence it's vital. It really is. And to give you a little backstory, I guess, I don't think self-confidence is something that we all innately have, but I grew up very, very insecure. I think it was part of my upbringing, but I didn't grow up in a home where self-confidence was really fostered or was something that was real. There wasn't an importance stressed around self-confidence, but through school, education, work, experiences, failures, you really learn how important self-confidence is in every part of your life. And so defining self-confidence, I think that it's vital. It's just vital in everything that you set out to do.
Thanks for sharing that great definition. And I truly believe it is vital in our lives, just because, we go through so much challenges and, like you mentioned, upbringing, especially as an Asian woman, like, family barriers, cultural barriers. There's so many things we can and can't do, so it's really important that we need to learn to believe in ourselves and our worth and our intuition to go out there and live life on our own. So I really love that you mentioned that. And, what was your life like before your discovery of self-confidence?
It was really small to kind of put it in a nutshell. It was small. I wasn't experiencing anything. I mean, self-confidence leads to a higher level of belief, right? And when you don't have it, you feel that you don't have that self-worth to go out and conquer anything, to try anything, to be anything. So I think before I really discovered any of that, I was kind of part of the pack. I wasn't the leader in any way.
Thanks for sharing that. And I think that's something we've all gone through in our lives, not feeling worthy, feeling like we have to go with the crowd to feel accepted. And, going out of that, we feel like we're different and something's wrong with us, not realizing like, we are our own person. We're all made differently. We all have special talents and skills that we can contribute to the world. And what was that point in your life when you realized your own worth and realized you can go out there and, be the person that you are today? What was that aha moment?
Wow, that's a good question. I think there were many, and I think they kind of added up to a moment where I was just sick and tired of being sick and tired of constantly feeling like I can't be myself, constantly feeling like I had nothing to offer, and just living a really small existence. But I remember the moment I received the letter in the mail. It was my last year of high school. And I remember thinking, oh my gosh, like, what am I going to do with my life? You know, when you're 17, 16 years old, most of us, I think, aren't sure what's next. And that was definitely my case. And I remember thinking, okay, are any schools going to accept me? Am I good enough? And all of the letters came in. I was accepted from every school that I applied to, thank goodness. But the biggest aha moment was really when I left my parents' home at 17 years old. And it might sound, small now, but I think at the time, and I think in the grand scheme as well, being on your own and being free as a young teenager allows you to learn so much about yourself. And it wasn't until I stepped foot on the campus, which was at Wilfrid Laurier University. And I still have such amazing memories there, but I remember stepping foot on that campus going, oh my gosh, I don't have a safety net. My parents are about an hour and a half away. My friends pretty much are all in different cities in southern Ontario. So I didn't know anybody. And at that point, when the shackles are off, you got to run free. And that's what I essentially did. I learned a lot of valuable lessons within that first year, made a lot of mistakes. And if it wasn't for my decision to kind of just be on my own at 17 years old, I think I'd probably still feel a little sheltered and not know who I was and where I was at.
Thanks for sharing that. And, it's crazy that you're able to, leave your parents' home at 17. Most families, they might think that's too young, but, you took that risk and found yourself and realized, that you can be free to do what you choose and build that confidence. And because of those life experiences, what's your life been like now?
I think how far I've come is that I've become a really curious person. I think up until the age of 17, before I left home, because it was so safe, everything was just status quo. I did very well in school. I never really made any mistakes in life. I never failed anything. And so in the last, let's say, 12 years, I've allowed myself to experience so much more, to fail in a lot of areas in life, which is so important in growth and self-growth and evolution. And so in the past, let's say, decade, I've met the most amazing people in my industry as a host, interviewing some of the biggest celebrities out there and filmmakers, some of the biggest success stories. And you come to realize that everyone we're essentially the same, we're given the same tools. A lot of us are from the same socioeconomic background. And for myself, it was low. And we're all just given the same air to breathe. Essentially, it's just what you make of this life. And so in the past year, I've been able to meet the right people, see some really incredible and inspiring places. And if I didn't leave my parents' house at 17 years old and make those mistakes, I wouldn't have been able to do all that.
Thanks for sharing that. And I think that's great that you've been able to allow yourself, to fail, but, fail in a positive light, knowing that even though if you failed, it's not the end, life goes on, you keep moving up, you keep moving forward, and, you will get to that end line, whatever it may be. So I think that's great that you've been able to do that. And, to the woman who is listening to your episode, she may be in her own journey of self-confidence. What'd be that one tip you would give to her?
There's at least one person out there who is on that personal journey to self-discovery, is that I think they need to know that self-discovery is a lifelong journey. And even though I think I really have come out of my shell in my adult life, and I am so comfortable in where I'm at, and I'm so grateful for so many things that have happened in the past 10 years, if I were to just throw in the towel now and decide that, hey, I've done it. I've got it under control. I have found myself. I think that decision can be a dangerous one. Life is such a huge opportunity for every single one of us. And I just want at least one female badass out there to know that evolution is a lifelong journey and self-discovery is a lifelong journey. So always stay open-minded, always keep your heart open, because that way you'll allow yourself to learn more about the world and in turn about yourself.
Thanks for sharing those great tips. And Brigitte, if our listeners wanted to get to know a little bit more about you and what you do or check out some of your work, is there any links or social media profiles we can connect with?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, my website is brigittetruong.com, but on social media, pretty much across all platforms, you can find me at Brigitte Truong, and that's BRIGITTETRUONG.
Thanks for sharing that. And to our listeners, if you want to connect with Brigitte, you can also head on over to thetaoofselfconfidence.com and search for Brigitte's name. Her show notes will pop up along with everything else that we talked about. And I really just want to thank Brigitte for taking the time today to share her story and tips with us on self-confidence. So thank you so much, Brigitte.
Sheena, thank you so much for having me. It's been a total pleasure.
Not a problem. It's been an honor having you on the show. And to our listeners, be on the lookout for another new episode of another amazing woman's journey to self-confidence, and we'll talk to you soon. Bye for now. Thank you for tuning in to another amazing episode of The Tao of Self-Confidence. Visit our website at thetaoofselfconfidence.com to check out cool resources, blog articles, show recaps, and so much more. Your inner journey to self-confidence awaits.